Good morning to all of you. Before we start today's session, please feel free to do event check-in. This will give you access to additional resources and information about events that we are running on Reactor, which are around similar topics to today's session. I will share the event check-in link with the event ID in the Q&A section shortly. Thank you all once again for joining us today. My name is Rashmita and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru, India. This session will run over the next 60 minutes including Q&A. The session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our Reactor YouTube channel within 3 to 4 days. I will share the link to our YouTube channel in the chat section soon. Quick word on our code of conduct. We display this at all Microsoft Reactor events that we run, and it's just a reminder to be aware of others. Key thing to take out here is to be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. Also, please keep your mics muted during the session. I would now like to welcome Swamy, our speaker for today's session. He is an aspirant software architect and currently he works at Applied Information Sciences. He loves to learn about new technologies, but for now, I will hand over to Swamy to begin the session. Over to you, Swamy.
Hey, thanks, Rashmita. Hey, good morning, all. Thanks for joining. And just to add on top of Rashmita's introduction, I am still a learner. So apologize if I do any mistake. So let's start what we are going to do. I'll just want to spend real quick 1 minute, not more. So what this series is for AZ-204. So most of the topics we cover is based on the topics which was given in Microsoft site. And sometimes we go to AZ-204 and we'll bring content from there. Okay, it's a mix and match from whatever I did for my exam preparation when I was certifying myself and whatever I learned from Microsoft Learn site also, purely from this hands-on. And we'll discuss a little bit of theory, but mostly it will be hands-on. So, and also as and when we are learning services, we'll add things to our architectural diagram or a block diagram. Let me call it as a block diagram. And the intention is how to use it. A base minimum, at least 30,000 foot. Okay, how to use this service? That's the intention. It might not be apt, but we will use it. So eventually, we are going to in next two second session, we'll start with containers, Docker, ACR, and then we'll go to Azure functions. So all the entire block of services like web apps, deploying apps to the virtual machine, container services, Docker, Azure Container Registry, Azure functions. So we'll be covering. So this slide will get cluttered in 3 to 4 sessions. By the end of the year, it gets cluttered, and then it gets more cluttered next year because we are taking time, we are learning the knowledge. So even though it is taking time, we'll learn knowledge. Okay. So if you see that initially we were here, we had an API and then SQL Server. Then last session, we were able to deploy to virtual machines, and we did in multiple ways. We did it using PowerShell, using Azure CLI, using ARM template. So what are we going to do different in this session? If you see the session, in the session, we will mainly focus on one area. And again, we'll come on this area in the next session. This session is purely focusing on that one, where we go and create this virtual machine, go and deploy the IaaS, and then deploy the web app using Visual Studio 2019. And then we will access this using the FQDN or using the IP address of this virtual machine. So that's an exercise for today. And apart from that, eventually we are going to add the service bus queue, the Azure Key Vault, APM management, and the authentication. Couple of ways using AD and different things, Azure Redis Cache, content delivery network, application insights, whatever is covering in that exam, we'll do all those things, but we'll take time, not to rush. Like, okay, we have to learn the knowledge. That's the intention. So before starting today's session, I would like to, there's a architectural or block diagram, let's call it as a block diagram. And as I mentioned, I'm still a learner. And what are we going to do today is we'll understand what is fault domain, what is update domain, and what is availability set, availability zone, spot instance, reserve instance, proximity, and then deploying an application, Razor or MVC inside the VM in Azure. So first, let's start with 6, and this itself will take a lot of time. And in between, we'll come and we will switch between either the fault domain or availability set or availability zone. It takes a lot of time. So let me start with 6, and 7 and 8 is I'm moving it to the next session because that I don't want to speed up something and we don't learn knowledge. I'm moving it. I will create an extra session because whatever the things which I was which I planned to cover and could not cover because of the time, I will create an extra session. I will cover all those things, but let's go according to the plan. Okay, that being said, let's start with but we have to deploy something in Azure. So let's start with the clean slate. We don't have anything and we are starting on this. Okay, so let me go to the resource groups. Okay, inside this resource group, I will create a new resource group. I'll go to resource groups. I create a new resource group. I'm calling it as 2 East US. I'm creating that. That resource group is there. That's perfect. And I'll open the existing one. Yesterday I deployed all those things. We will see that just as a reference, or sometimes we need to download few things, the configuration, how it looks, and for other things I just keep it as a backup plan. But we will purely work on this one. We will not use that. It's only for the reference, but we will create it everything from scratch. So anyone who have worked on release management team or on IaaS, they know whatever I'm doing right now. They know that pretty much what is being done here. So we need a Windows 2019 virtual machine. So the steps are here. Let's follow the steps step by step. The first is we need to have a Windows 2019 machine. So Windows 2019 machine, that's what I'm going to create now. And I'm calling it as Win 2019 VM 2710. That's the name I'm giving. And I want to place it in this one, East US. And we'll come back and we'll discuss these topics in length about availability options. What does this availability zone and availability set means? And also we are going to discuss on spot instance and reserve instance. There are few topics I just parked it, but we are going to definitely discuss those things. And the security type is standard. You can mouse over on this icon. It says that, so there are default security options they are providing. And this is Windows Server 2019 data center. I'm not going to take anything, the spot instance. I'm going to use this 2V CPUs and 4 GB. And I will go ahead with my favorite user. And okay, the username passwords are there. At this point of time, let's assume that we are going to allow only 3389, which is for the RDP port. Okay, let's go ahead and create this virtual machine. This itself will take a decent amount of 30-40 minutes, guys, because everything we are doing ourselves. So we know the effort or what is involved in doing this. So once we do this exercise in the next session, we'll compare what it takes to develop an application and deploy it to a Azure virtual machine which we are maintaining versus what it takes to deploy that to an app service or a static web apps or different. Let's take it an app service that might be an app comparison. So we know the effort, what it is going to take. So I'm going to deploy this one. Okay. So that being said, it's going to deploy as we have already seen these things. When the deployment is progress, you can go to that deployment and you can refresh, and you can see that each of those operations, how many seconds or milliseconds it's taking. Like to create NIC, it took 10 seconds. Network interface card and NSG and IP. So all those things, it's taking a little bit of time, not much. It's just in a matter of seconds, it's spinning up. So that's the step one. Let's hold on until we come to that one. So after that, what we have to do is we have to assign a static IP and a DNS name, and then we need to go and add the inbound port rules for 8172 and 8080. So what is 8080 is that's the port which we are exposing to access our application, which we will host it inside that virtual machine. So this port 8172 is a management port which we will see in a short while from now. Port. See this. If you go to this one, web deploy port, it will be listening in 8172. So the IIS is sitting inside the virtual machine, and we are going to deploy from my laptop to that IIS. So this management port or this web deploy port has to be enabled there. Okay. That being said, let's see what is the status of this virtual machine. I think it should be, yeah, it is created. So what we will do is we'll go to this virtual machine over here, and we know quite a few things which we have seen, and we'll again and again we'll revisit because some of the things like an Azure backup and creating a separate network and placing these virtual machines in different subnets and allowing external load balancer, internal load balancer, that we will discuss few months away from now, but not immediately. But we are going to learn a lot of knowledge and techniques from this series for sure. So let's see few of the things. We have the public IP address, and this is a DNS name. Right now, we don't have any DNS name. So the first thing we need to assign that. So we have to go. I've given here VM overview. So VM overview. Inside that essentials, and then DNS name here. It's not yet configured. So we'll go and I'm going to take a static IP. So that's the IP has been assigned to us, and DNS name, I would like to take the same thing as a DNS name also. So this dot East US Cloud App Azure.com, similar to the Azure websites. This also giving us an DNS name, so that that entire thing will become an FQDN, and that gets translated to the IP address. So once we deploy the application, we can either go with the DNS name or with the public IP address. So we'll see that how this FQDN gets converted to that. Uh, okay, both will be there. So let me restart this. Sometimes what will happen is it will not restart, so you will restart it. Okay. That being said, we will go to the networking, the next step. And inside this networking, we have the NSG, Network Security Group. So this, we see that only 3389, that is because we are doing RDP, but the suggested way is to have the jump box, jump server or Azure Bastion, similar concept should be allowed. This is only for the testing we are doing it, but generally in production systems, this will not be allowed. They will never expose the RDP port. And inside this inbound securities, we will have two things. We will add two. One is for 8080. That's for the that is for the application, and then we will add one more thing, that is for the web deploy. I'm sorry, 8172. 8172. Okay, 8172. This is 8172. Okay, so let it add that. It's creating the rule. This is inbound rules. So we're going to discuss a lot of these things, but let's take a baby steps. Uh, because I'm doing this live session so that everyone will understand what it takes to deploy it. I could have gone and installed all those components and just walk you through the steps A, B, C, D. That might not. I didn't feel that way to discuss this session. I thought of to do a live session so that we know what it takes. Someone has unmuted their mic. So these are the ports which we have right now. So we'll go back and I'm going to overview. Just I will do a restart of this machine just to ensure that it is applying everything. So we have a DNS. We have the DNS name. Will they allow trace RT? I'm not sure. See, that's getting translated to the public IP. See this? The DNS, we have given the DNS name. They definitely will not allow the trace RT, I'm sure on that. But whatever the FQDN or this DNS name we give, that gets translated to a public IP. That's what I told. So we saw that it's getting translated. That's good thing. And another thing is we just want to ensure that our ports has been opened. So these two things are there. Perfect. That's good. So let's go and try to connect. And Azure Bastion is a suggested way. We will definitely work on that also. But at this point of time, let me go and download this RDP file and access that. That's a virtual machine. Show more choices. And, for that complex password, they need a minimum 12 characters. Okay, so I'm opening this virtual machine. We will restart once again after installing few other things. Okay, so what is that? This is stopping us. Okay. So this step is done. What is step 3? Step 3 is we will do RDP into that, and also we'll verify and allow these inbound firewall rules, because virtual machine we have punched the hole in the NSG. That means any traffic which is coming goes to the NSG and NSG routes to the virtual machine. Will the virtual machine allow it or not? That's a different story. So we need to ensure that whether the virtual machine is allowing it or not. Okay, let's keep this guy here and go to the firewall settings inside this. Whatever I'm showing just to understand what it takes to deploy. But in production systems, this everything will be done through the infra team and or through the automation scripts. They will not do it manually. So whatever we are doing is just for experimentation to understand the internals, nothing else. So the port, we need to verify the port. I'm doing a sort by. So this is 1 series, this is 2 series, and 3, 4, 5, 7 series, and this is the 8 series. 8 series, it has got only this string. It's ordering by string. I mean, even though these are numerics, it is considering as string. That's the reason we're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way. So 8 it doesn't have. So we need two rules, 8172 and 8080. So that's for the deploy. So we need to punch the hole in the firewall. The port number is 8172 and allow connections. I mean, this is just for the demo. I'm opening it for a while. Okay, web deploy. That's for the web deploy. We have seen that. Okay, that is done. And let me deploy another one, another port. This is for 8080 and allow. This is Hello World app. That's for the Hello World app. So now we can come and again do a sort, and we can see that 8080 8172. Those two things has been added. Okay, that being said, let me close it. And let's go. After that step, we did that. And now we need to install the IIS server. I mean, we'll not restart it immediately. We'll all the way, we'll go and do this one and try deploying it. If it doesn't work, then we'll think of restarting. Okay, the installing IIS. There are a few things which we need to do it. I will go back to that machine. Okay. Why it is now it is giving me control. Perfect. Okay. So now let me go to the local server here and enhance security. I mean, whatever I'm doing just for that experimentation or for the knowledge sake, but please do not, I mean, you'll not have access to the production servers, but please ensure that you're maintaining the securities. Let me come in here. I need to install IIS. Okay, that's here itself. The role based will come here. Uh, as I was mentioning, I will open everything to wild just because this is an experimentation, but we will deploy only the components which are needed in real time. So I'm installing the IIS and Windows deployment service, and then click on next. Click on next. What is it? Oh, okay. Here, let me install this 3.5 and let me install this. I'm just installing everything, guys, even though some of the things belongs to the old legacy ISAP DLLs and IIS 6 that we used to use in 2010 around that time. So I'm just installing few of the things which might not be needed at all, but just want to ensure that is all selected. Okay. Then I'm coming in here because once we start deploying and things will not work and we have to spend hours together investigating why it is not working. All these some of the things belongs to the legacy thing, but I'm just installing that. Like if you see that few things are definitely for legacy. Even though I don't use this FTP, I'm just installing. And these are the IIS 6 version. I want to ensure that WMI. Okay, cool. I just click on next, next, and I just click on install. So let it go ahead. Let it install. In the meanwhile, we'll come here and check what is the next step. The next step is we need to install .NET 5, .NET Core Hosting Bundle, and Web Deploy 3.6. So these three things are there. So let me come back here into this virtual machine. And I don't need that. Let me go and open the Internet Explorer. I will close this and do not use the recommended settings. Let me go and first do web deploy. .6. First, let's download this web deploy 3.6 from the official Microsoft download. We'll do this deployment. Yeah, we need this web deploy 3.6. Let me download this. Next. Hello. That's the web deploy. And then what we need to do is we need .NET 5 download. Go and search for .NET 5. .NET 5 is here. And we need two things. We need the .NET 5 and the hosting bundle. We need two. So let me download this. Let's wait for, okay, .NET 5 SDK. I click on save. And then let's go back to the previous page. Let's go back to the previous page. We have downloaded this, the latest one, and also we need the hosting bundle. So that's coming up. So I think all the things has been downloaded. Okay, that's perfect. Everything is downloaded. Let's see what happened to that. This guy, did it complete the deployment? Okay, what is that? Still, this guy is going ahead and installing this one. Okay, while this guy is installing, let's learn few of the things which we have to, and then we will switch. It might take a minute or two. It's only, I think it's 60%. It takes a little bit of time. Let's come and discuss few of the topics which I have kept it for the discussion. So while deploying this virtual machines or while using virtual machines, we need to understand that some of the responsibilities will be ours, some of the responsibilities will be by the cloud provider. So patching and ensuring that all the ports has been blocked and allow only ports and permissions, everything will be our responsibility. And also the high availability will be also our responsibility. Like if you go to that Microsoft documentation, they will mention that what is the SLA which they are going to provide for the virtual machines. So what will be the SLA if you take a single virtual machine and you deploy an application there and that virtual machine goes down because of some issue? Maybe the CPU load, CPU or memory or OS crashed or application crashed for any reason, or there is a planned or unplanned maintenance, could be any reason it's going down. So what are the other options? How critical is the application? So do you need an high availability, or you're okay if your site is down for few hours or couple of minutes or a day or two? It depends upon the use case, like what kind of application you're deploying on that virtual machine. So we need to understand what is this fault domain and what is this update domain. So if you come here, so this is the fault domain and this is the update domain. We will see that in the portal once we deploy that. I'm going to walk you through that also in the Azure portal, but just wanted to discuss about that while this guy is deploying it. It's going to take a little bit time. Let's spend on learning something new. So when you are going to place your virtual machine, so how does this fault domain or update domain happens? You can see it here. So we have this fault domain 0, 1, and 2. So if you want high availability, so what we will do is we'll place we are deploying two instances or two virtual machines for the same tier, like a middle tier. So we have to ensure that that's going and sitting in a fault domain, different fault domains. That means if the power or network cable or cooling, if something goes down, so only this rack will get taken down. So if we deploy three virtual machines or two virtual machines, at least one in one of these fault domain and another thing is this fault domain, and at that time what will happen is if power, each will have its own power source network and other things like cooling and whatever is applicable for this particular racks. So if that rack is being taken down, still we have another virtual machine which will be either one of these fault domains. So we are at least 50% covered when something goes wrong here. If the entire data center goes down, so we can't protect ourselves with this fault domain or update domain. This fault domain or update domain is within the data center. Within the data center, how securely your uh, how securely it's getting deployed to different fault domains. So that is protecting you from any undesired or unplanned activities, like someone comes and plugs out the power and this rack goes down. This has got its own power, this has got its own power. So it's better to place the virtual machines in different update domains, sorry, fault domains. Then there is something known as an update domain. Update domain is what you will place it in this different update domains. So what will happen is if there is any planned activity, Microsoft will go and update one update domain at a time. So in this case, you can see this, we have 5 update domains. So it's going to update one, bring this back, and then update this, bring this back and update this. So if you place your virtual machines for the high availability, you need to consider placing it using this fault, placing it in availability set. For that, you need to understand that what is fault domain and what is update domain. You can see this is a region and this is an availability set. This is a computer cluster, and you can see this is the fault domain. So different fault domains are there. So that means different racks. It, each rack has got its own power, network cables and other things. And if at all something goes wrong to one rack, if you place your virtual machine in more than one fault domains, that means at least you can be sure that it's an highly available, because if one of the fault domain goes down, we still have another fault domain rack where our virtual machine is placed. It's very unlikely that someone is going to pull out the plug in both the racks. We can't do anything, but apart from that, if he's pulling only one cable, still we are 50% covered. And if an entire data center goes down, then the next story comes is the availability zones that we will discuss a little later. So I think that's about the fault domain and update domain. There's something known as an availability set. We'll see this, but before that, I just wanted to utilize the time while that is getting deployed. So availability set. So what is this availability set? So if you see this, the availability set logical grouping of VMs that allows Azure to understand how your application is built. This for the redundancy and high availability. You can see that you can go and look into this SLA, what SLAs are being provided. So if you have 2 or more virtual machines placed in an availability set, that means again you need to those virtual machines will be placed in different fault domains and different update domains. So that means you will definitely get a 99.95% of SLA. Okay, suppose if you are deploying a single virtual machine and that instance is using premium SSD or ultra disk SSD, still Microsoft will give an SLA of 99.9. Okay, and again a single instance of virtual machine used standard SSD with managed disk, still we are getting 99.5. And if you use a single instance with standard HDD, you're getting 99. 95%. So we need to understand that what is an SLA and what SLA you have to support it. It depends upon that one. So here you can see that how do availability set works. So every virtual machine in your availability set is assigned an update domain and a fault domain. So that we have discussed few minutes ago that what is update domain and what is fault domain. I think this guy has installed. So let's come back and work on this. Let's come back and let's go and deploy. We do the web deploy. We'll install that. Next, complete installation. And next, let it deploy. It's going to take a little bit time. It will not take much time for sure. Okay, that guy is finished. We are here. And once that is done, let's deploy the .NET SDK. Now, okay, install. It's installing .NET SDK on this box. Now you will understand when we were deploying this web app to the app service. So what is the work involved behind the scenes? Once we complete this entire exercise, then you'll understand. We didn't do anything. We said that we'll take an app service plan and we have chosen the plan, like what kind of hardware or a compute we need it, and then we went ahead and deployed the application. It deployed it without even we knowing that what is involved. We selected that, hey, give me .NET 5 or 3.1 or .NET 6, whatever the runtime we needed. We just chosen those in the options and we said that deploy. So it deployed. So now you will understand that, okay, what is involved behind the scenes to make it life very easy, because someone has already done this for us and we are enjoying the benefits. So these are all the things. You can see that the ASP.NET core module, module V2, that's what is needed when we want to deploy the .NET Core apps. So that's the reason we are deploying this. Web deploy, we have already seen that. Now it's a time for us to get our heads into Internet Information Server, IIS. So let's get into this IIS server. We'll spend a few minutes here. So there's a IIS server. And here are most of the things which we deployed. And one of the thing was we discussed was this management, and see here 8172. So the management service use this feature to configure how clients connect to this server using remote connections in IIS manager. So now we understand that why did we punch hole in the firewall 8172 in the NSG for the virtual machine. Also in the advanced firewall in this virtual machine, we have enabled 8172. That means someone can remotely come and deploy the application here. Okay. And in a production server that might go through the release servers or jump servers or release servers, but they'll not open it for a while for sure. Okay. That being said, let's come and see this application pool are the one which we can see that the default application pool. These are all the old things like whether .NET CLR or unmanaged code or .NET CLR 4. These all things are there. We'll come and see that little later. And these are the sites. So we have the default site. You can right mouse click on that and go and click on explore. That takes us to the www root under INET 1. Okay. So this is the one when, and also we can right mouse click on that and click on browse. So that's the HTML file. You can see an HTML file which is there. This is the hosting HTML file. We saw this similar file when we created the app service also. Okay, so that's one more point. Another point I just wanted to discuss is the what else I thought of to discuss here. Configuration, everything is there. I think that's it. That's the only thing I thought of to discuss. And let me minimize this. So what did we do? We have installed all these things and verify this core modules are there. We'll create a website there. So what we have to do is to create the website. To create this website, we need to different school of thoughts. Some people they will create D folder and create sites and create all the folders and map it here. So I just wanted to put it everything in the www root. So I'm just calling it as um, Hello World app. I'm calling it as an Hello World app, and I let me copy this and come back over here, click on sites, add a website, and you will know this in few minutes from now. Why are we creating this site and what is the usage of that? Okay, after that, what we can do is we can click on test settings and it says that pass through authentication. It was good. We are not using any special authorization and the port we are mapping it to 8080. That is the port which we told that for an app 80 will be the default site, which we have already seen that this is 8080. So I just click on OK. And when we come back, you can see this hello world application pool here. And this is the application which is coming on port 8080. So at this point of time, there is nothing inside this. We didn't deploy anything, but this is the port 80. We have created a new website and that is in port 8080. So we can create multiple websites. So with this, we can understand if I am going to deploy multiple apps uh, to the app service using the same hosting plan, they might have been doing the same, or I don't know internals how it is being done, but I'm assuming the similar concept. I can go and create multiple sites and host it. One for today we'll deploy MVCR Razor. In the next session, we'll deploy Blazor WASM and we'll deploy API in the Linux. Today we are working in Windows. In the next session, we'll deploy Web API to the Linux and its integration. We'll see things in a big way, but let's take the baby steps. And that's what we created it. And what is web deploy? I've given this. I really liked the explanation in this one. What is web deploy? They have pretty much clearly given tons and tons of information on this one. I really liked it. You guys can go ahead. It's there in my GitHub. I've given this link also. Now we have to come back to our local machine to start with the Visual Studio 2019. So let me come here and I will create a new project. I'm creating a new project. This is to understand what it involves. So we can speed up in the next session when we are deploying different things. We'll deploy Blazor WASM also, but for today, let's go ahead with this. Hello world. Next, and I'm calling it as Hello World app. And .NET 5 authentication HTTPS enable Razor runtime compilation. I'm clicking on create. Our intention for today is how we deploy, what it takes to deploy an application and access it outside the virtual machine. That's our intention. So will not focus on this one. We'll come back and we'll definitely create an application which will go and read the content from the API. So my intention is create two applications. One application from this virtual machine will go and hit the web API, get the content and display. Another thing is to deploy a web API, and we will deploy another site inside the same uh, IIS, and that will go and integrate. So there'll be a lot of integration. Just hold on for two more sessions. I have to cover those things. We'll do that definitely. We'll come back and do that. Then we will have the lines from here, lines from here. Then we know that how can we integrate. What if I deploy to a virtual machine? What if I deploy to the app service? A lot of things are coming up. So here, a simple thing is you can either execute using IaaS or using Kestrel. I'm switching back to the Kestrel, and I click on this hello world of this Razor pages. We're not going to discuss anything on this one, guys. We'll definitely come back and at least we'll hit an API and display some content for sure. But just give me, let's hold on till next session where we deploy the Nginx and then we'll play. Let's first place all the infrastructure and apps there and then we'll start integration. Okay, this is a hello world. Let's keep it to this simple and come back. So we have validated that our application locally it works. I'm sorry. So it locally works. Then we need to create a publish profile. So this is the important piece. Okay, just go ahead and create a publish profile. And here we have seen that Azure. Previously, we used to select this Azure App Service, Windows or Linux. We'll come back to this App Service container and Azure Container Registry, definitely from the third session or second session down the lane. We'll definitely come back. Right now, we'll select this Azure Virtual Machine. And then it goes and identifies this. So yesterday, I deployed it to this one. Today, we are going to deploy it to this. Okay, I'm going to create some problem for ourselves and we will overcome that. So we have created it. Can I go and deploy right now? We can deploy, but before that, I just want to show a few other things. Click on this show all settings and come back to connection. First, let's verify that. And you see this, it's a web deploy and this guy using 8172. Now you will understand that why did we punch the hole in the firewall in NSG and why did we open the advanced firewall inside the virtual machine 8172 port. And again, coming back to this site, I told that we are creating a new site. We'll know that why are we using it. If we don't create our own site, it goes and updates the default site. We don't want to step on others' toes, isn't it? We have to go and deploy on our own site. So that's the reason we just created that site. So come back to this and okay. And I'm going to save the password. Click on validate connection. So here, see this, the Windows, it's saying that this is the security certificate which is there. This will help us. Okay, we can do that, save the certificate. I will save it and click on accept. And I'll also show that what happens if you don't save. And what is the difference? We'll see that in a moment. Okay, now the connection is succeeded. So that means we have perfectly established a connection between our virtual machine and the IaaS or the remote virtual machine, our local laptop to remote virtual machine. And you see that that's configuration is released, target is this, and framework dependent. That means we already installed IaaS there. So we are saying that we are assuming that the framework exists on that virtual machine and we are going to deploy. There are other options which we will worry about that little later when we are doing the integration. Okay, once you create the publish profile, you have to come in here and you need to ensure that the connection is properly established. Right? So that's the key thing for you. Now, let me open this in file folder. I want to show something. I open it in a Visual Studio Code. Now, if I come in to the properties and to the publish profile. And inside this publish profile, so what is available is it knows that where we have to deploy and what is this, the deploy URL and application name, remote site, and all these information are there. It's self-contained? No, it is. That means it is a framework dependent. And yesterday when I was deploying this, I forgot to save the certificate. So if you come and compare between these two, it is 28 lines. This is 29 lines. Now what will happen is when you're trying to deploy this application from Visual Studio, every time it fails. It says that remote certificate is untrusted. So even if you saving that certificate, you have to add this one line, allow untrusted certificates to true. That means you are deploying to the remote. I mean, I know that it is the machine which I have created, but we never do this when you're deploying to the machines which you don't trust it. But this is the infrastructure which I have created. I just added this tag, this element. Okay, that's the tip. So even if you forget it, it will trouble you. But now that we have already created it, we are safe. And how do you know that? You can you will there will be one more element which points to that. Where is that? Encrypted password. It's not this. What else I wanted to show here? What else I wanted to show here? I wanted to show something else also. I don't remember at this point of time. Okay, so that's a key tip, guys. So if you forget to save the certificate when you try to deploy, every time it fails. So what you need to do, you need to come and add this element, which I did it yesterday. I was in rush, so I just clicked on OK without saving the certificate. That being said, you can come and see here at this point of time, right mouse click and explore. So when you explore, we don't have anything over here. So let's go and click on publish. So when you go and click on publish, this guy is going and compiling, and it started the publishing. What's that? Oh, see that? I told you, isn't it? So what it will tell is could not verify the server certificate. So this is an untrusted certificate. So what we have to do is we have to copy this element, get it over here, and paste it. Okay. Once you paste it, come back and publish. So now that we told that I am okay with the certificate of the server where I'm going to deploy. Now you see this guy. Now it will not trouble us. It will happily go and start deploying. You can either monitor here in the output, or you can come to the web publishing wizard activity, and you see a similar or more. I don't know the difference between those two, but at both the places you can monitor the progress of this deployment. So we see that it's getting deployed. I think we will be able to see that. We are able to see the things which are getting deployed, and see it has perfectly deployed everything. Okay. Now I will click on this, and this is not showing the site. It will not show that. It will not show the application. We'll come back and we will hunt it down in a second. It's not a big thing. It's a small thing only. We'll come back over here, and we can spend a minute or two here. We can see that all those things are getting deployed, and we have the app settings. In the next episode where we are doing the integration with the app service, we definitely need the API URL. We'll come back to that one. Here we have the DLL, and we do have the app.config, web.config. We can see that on IIS, this web.config is a critical piece. Without that, our lives will not be safe. So we see that handlers for this, because this is an ASP.NET Core. That is the reason we need ASP.NET Core module v2. Now you understand why did we install the hosting bundle, ASP.NET Core hosting bundle we installed, because when the request comes, who is going to handle this request? So ASP.NET Core infrastructure. So that's the module we have. And also you can see that ASP.NET Core process path is .NET and the argument is hello world DLL, that we have seen that, right? So that's another tip here. And the next thing what I want to show here is, yeah, it's not going to work. We already know that. And come back to this one as we have done to this, right mouse click on that and manage site. You can do start, stop and go to that one settings and do rest of the things. We click on that and we see that it is displaying this site. And let's do hello world app, right mouse click on that, manage websites and browse the site. And it is displaying. Okay, but what is the port? Port is 8080. So that is the one which we didn't add here. So when I go and if I add port 8080, so this guy goes and brings the content, because I know that we are not having the uh, certificate for this one. That's the reason it says not secured, but that's a different thing, comes from the AZ-104 certification and other things, but we can also spend time. Now we understand that it is coming to 8080. So when we work in the next episode, we will create another application. I'm going to stop and deallocate this virtual machine so that in the next episode we don't need to go through all this pain. We can straight away utilize the virtual machine which is already built. The infrastructure is there. So as a quick recap, you can see that when you come to this configuration editor, double click on that, and app settings, we don't have anything in the app settings. You can come to this system web server and ASP.NET Core. So that's when whatever the web config which you have seen, that is getting translated like this. So said that arguments is this, and it's an hosting model is in process, and process path, same thing which we have seen, isn't it, somewhere just now in the, oh, here itself we have seen in this application logs. Sorry, it's not application logs, it is web.config. I think I'm a little tense. See that? So it's getting translated. I can place it here and get the notepad, and you can see that if you go. So that's ASP.NET Core module, and you can see the .NET, the path, and it's an in process and hello world DLL. So it's this configuration, it's coming over here. And other things what we can see is the port binding. So the browse with this website, and you can do much more things in this. Okay, just wanted to showcase a few of those items, right? So that being said, let's come back to the portal. We'll go ahead and see something else real quick. Let me come over here and availability set. We're not going to create it, but let's go and walk through all the way. Even if we create, it's not harming us. So this is an availability set, is logical grouping capability. Okay, for isolating the virtual machine. You can see that we can specify the name. Okay, test availability set, and that's I'm taking East US. And here you can see that the fault domains. What is fault domain? We have seen that in the pictorial representation, and we have discussed at least 1 or 2 bulleted points in that. And you can scale up to maximum 3. Default it says 2. And update domains also we have seen that. So update domains together, planned maintenance. So that means only a single update domain will get rebooted for this planned thing. Okay, it's 5. All the way you can go till 20. That depends upon what you need it. And we'll come here. This is a proximity thing. What does a proximity means? So you can come and look into that. So the proximity is something where you don't want the latency. You want to place those virtual machine very close to each other so that almost slim to none latency you want it. So in that case, you can do a proximity. You place this a very closer. So, okay. So the low latency between two standalone VMs, or low latency between VMs in a single availability set, or low latency between standalone VMs in multiple availability sets, and low latency between multiple application tiers, like you have the app tier, middle tier, database tiers. So for all these things where you want a very low latency, we use this proximity. And that's what we say this, we'll say this proximities, we didn't create anything, but that's what is this proximity. So proximity placement group is a logical grouping of grouping used to make sure that Azure compute resources are physically located close to each other. Okay, so there's a very low latency to that, and that's the thing I just want to showcase on that. And I have a couple of other points to discuss. We have discussed on fault domain, update domain, availability set, zone is there, spot instance and reserve instance, availability zone and spot and reserve instance. Let's go ahead and discuss about the availability zone. So I can see this availability zone. So if you see that availability set, let's assume that we have a data center and you have multiple racks. And you said that availability zone, place it in different fault domains and different update domains. And what if this entire data center goes down? So our virtual machines are, you can't access your application. There will be a downtime. So what if I use an availability zones? So Azure availability zone are physically separated locations within each region that are tolerant to local failures. That means if my this data center is down, if I have the high availability requirement and I placed my middle tier in this availability zone, that means one in this data center and one in this data center, one or more data centers, or one in this availability zone and one in this in any combination in different availability zones. What if this entire zone is gone? Let's assume that each of this availability zone has got only one data center, just for a discussion sake. So data center 1, data center 2, data center 3. So I have a very high available application. It should always be up. So I placed my virtual machine for the middle tier in 3 availability zones, just to ensure that my application is running up, and I'm exposing an API which rest of the folks will use it. Something like a trading. I'm giving what is the stock price of watch or something. So I want it to be highly available. And if this data center is gone, but still with that load balancing, we'll be able to cater from these 2 data centers or 2 different zones, because we have placed our middle tier in all 3 zones. And what if these 2 zones are down due to some reason? Still our application is working because we have placed in all 3 different zones. And if this entire region is gone, that is another level. We need to stop somewhere. How availability needs to be taken, and some people will have the disaster recovery and the high availability, they might use a couple of zones in one region and couple of zones in other region, just to ensure that primary and secondary region, very unlikely that both the regions goes down at the same time. We can't do anything at that time, but at least this one. But based on the application, what we are supporting, we need to stop somewhere, whether we need to go and deploy it to different regions in different availability zones or availability sets, that depends upon the architecture and the kind of application which we are supporting. Like you can see this, the disaster recovery. Like even though I placed it, I placed one copy here. So that means if if this entire region is gone, and this is a primary region and this is a disaster recovery, even if these 3 data centers are down, still I'll have this one. So we used to, in 2006, uh, I'm sorry, 5 and 6, we used to have these physical hardware. We used to deploy that. So what we used to deploy is one set of machines, physical machines, where we used to deploy this application and make it make it live, and people will be using that set. I'm calling it as set A. And while after deploying the set A and testing it and making it live, we also go and deploy the same set of binaries inside another set, which will not be alive, but we'll deploy those binaries. We'll do a testing and switch off those machines and keep it. So when we are releasing the second version of this application, what we will do is we will go ahead and deploy that to the set 2 or set B, test it, and enable this set B and disable this set A. So set A has got version 1, set 2 has got version 2 of the application. And after testing it, we found that it is good and we make live, and suddenly someone found a P0 or P1 issue, a blocker. Then what we do, immediately we'll disable those set B and bring back set A, so previous version. So that tough, and we used to have sleepless nights when we get a production call, wake up in the 2 a.m. in the morning and do those juggling. But now see how easy the life is with all these things. Okay, and a couple of other points is like spot instance and reserve instance. Okay, so let's see that real quick. So I'm going to come back here and I say create a virtual machine. So in this virtual machine, we have seen that spot instance. Okay, so see, this spot instance offer unused Azure capacity at a discounted rate versus pay as you go. So what are the models where in which we can purchase virtual machine? So one is the pay as you go, and one is the spot instance, one is the reserved instance. So pay as you go is the one which we generally created. So that means how many hours we use that virtual machine, we'll get charged for those many hours. That's a pay as we go. And there is something like an offer types, this pricing, you can see that pay as you go. And the other one is the spot instance. Spot instance is like where a lot of capacity which is unused. So if we say that, hey, I need a spot instance, so that is coming for a very cheaper price. So lot less, we are getting a huge discount on that. So we use this, and suddenly if Azure needs this capacity, they give the 30 seconds message and they take back it. So we can use this only for testing or where the downtime is expected. Okay, I'm fine even if it is downtime. So I'm doing some batch processing and all of a sudden my virtual machine or the compute resource has been taken and I do not compute that batch processing. After 1 hour, if I get it, if I recompute it, that is fine. In those kind of scenarios, we can use this one. And there is also something known as a reserved instance. So what are these reserved instances? Reserved instances is we are giving a commitment that I'm going to take this virtual machine for 1 year or 3 years. So I'm going to pay upfront, or I'm going to pay 1 year price or something. So we'll get a huge discount because there is a commitment. We are saying that, okay, I'm going to use your virtual machine for 1 year. So the pay as you go is these virtual machines, whatever which we have created just now, we might use it or we might not use it. I will tell that, hey, I don't want this virtual machine, I go ahead and delete it. I used it for 30 minutes or 50 minutes, and then I delete this virtual machine. This is pay as you go. So I'll get charged only for this 50 minutes. And when it is a reservation is where I'm upfront committing that I'm going to use this virtual machine for 1 year or 3 years. I might get a huge discount. See this 72% discount is pretty much a huge one, because when you expect that you will be using it, you can definitely go for this. Like you can use pay as you go, or you can use a spot instance. And please ensure that you're using spot instance. Anytime there might be stoppage, those resources might be gone. So be very careful. It's used only for the testing purpose. And as your reservation is, you're committing that I'm going to use this virtual machine for 1 year or 3 years period. Okay, I'm sorry. So these are the topics which we have discussed, and pretty much. And okay, one thing I wanted to show that. Where is that virtual machine? Where is the machine? Okay, that's a virtual machine, isn't it? I can copy this and come back here. This we are using this FQDN, and let's try with this IP address. We shouldn't see any difference, because the DNS will anyways get translated to the IP address internally. We have seen that when we did a trace RT, we have seen that this DNS gets converted to this one. So net we are going to see the same thing if you use an FQDN, or I mean using the DNS name or using the IP address, the same. So now where we'll go in the next episode. So you can see that in the previous session we just used the virtual machine. We didn't do anything to that. Okay, we had this Azure and a web API. We tested with the Postman, and we added 2 virtual machine, one Ubuntu and one Windows. We didn't do anything. So where we'll go next? We'll do a little bit of web APIs or other app service, and today we deployed IaaS and web application, but we didn't do the integration piece. So the next thing what will do is we'll deploy the app API here in the Ubuntu machine, Nginx. Here we have seen the IaaS flavor. Here we use this Nginx. We'll configure that Nginx. And from this Nginx, let's go and hit the SQL database. And from this IaaS, let's go and hit the API. I mean, API means it's getting the data. And here also we'll expose an API. So one API we are exposing through the app service. One API we are exposing, deploying it to a virtual machine. But net these 2 APIs will do the same thing. We can have another app, but we'll see how much time we'll have. But that's the plan for the next session. Okay, so that is from my side. Hello. Any queries, folks? Raj, Satish, Chokalingam, DD, Suresh, AK, Sambamurthy, Chandrasekhar. Anyone has got any queries? Suresh Govindaraju, Prasad Kumar, Sridhar Reddy. Anyone has got any queries? Oh yeah, that is there. One second, let me share my screen. Let me walk you through that. Where's that? There are a lot of things. If you see that, AZ-204 series. So there might, I will be shuffling. So we have completed session 4, this one. And some portion I'm moving it to next. So next session, we'll do that app service. We'll go into the Kudu console. We do the custom domain, SSL and CORS. That's the next session. And we'll have an Angular 12 app integrating with that. So whatever the things which are remaining, I'll create another session, some 6, and we'll backfill any items which were not there. So next session, what we will do is we'll get into the Kudu console. We'll have the custom domains. Exactly the same thing. We'll create a custom domain instead of using the AzureWebsites.com. We'll say that simpleapp.com or some custom domain we'll use it. How to enable SSL, how to enable cars, how to deploy Angular. It's a big full action episode. Next episode. It's all this one custom domains. We'll have our own custom domains and certificates, SSL certificates, and the cars deployment of Angular app and using it. It's a big episode. We'll have another app here, Angular app that integrates. This we'll keep it. We'll come back on the next session. Session 6 we'll work on this. But here we'll have an Angular app that goes and talks to this. And this Angular app will have a custom domain instead of that abc.azurewebsites.net. We'll have bookstore.com or something. I don't know what domain will be available on that day. And that will also be the live session. I'm not going to do anything and come and show you that this is ABC, these are the steps to do. It will be live session. Either we are failing or success, it will be live. Okay. So from this, Azure will come and hit this. Everything will be live, folks. Okay. Chalo, anything else? Anyone? Any feedback, positive or negative or mid? Because that definitely helps us to fine tune and definitely helps us, every one of us, because we are spending this much of time on a working day. We have every minute has to be utilized, and we have to learn. My intention is we have to learn the knowledge instead of I go and deploy offline. If you see that yesterday I deployed this last night just to ensure that things will work. I just always keep it as a backup plan, that I always work on that and store it, so that if it is not working on the demo day, I can fall back on this and I'll show you. My intention was not to open this and show that, hey, I have deployed this, I have deployed this. But doing a live session will give us more knowledge, what efforts it takes to deploy it. Okay. Chalo, any final queries? Anyone? Thanks, Prasad. Hope you guys are enjoying. There is a lot more things coming in this. Just we are starting. Uh, just 2 episodes from now, you'll see that Docker, Azure Container Instance, Azure Container Registry. We'll use that images from Container Registry. We'll deploy our own things to Azure Container Registry. Did you had a session where you had to tweak worker processes for application pool? No, I didn't do that, Prasad. I think you send me more details on what is that. I'll see if it is falling under AZ-204. I'll see that. If not, someday we will do it. Because as you have seen this Excel, I have some planned activity. I mean, this after 6 will not start with app. We'll start with Azure Container Instances, Azure Container Registry, Docker. Those things will come, and then we'll start with Azure Functions. Then we'll do a mix and match on that one. So next session is definitely for Angular 12 app and custom domains, SSLs, cars, and Kudu consoles for sure. Okay. Anyone who's need anything else, you please do let me know, or you can ping me on my Twitter. And I hope I have given, I did give my repository. So this is the repository, folks. This is Vishipilor. All the places you will see this blue color icon. For some reason, I don't show my face. I'm an old man, so I don't want to show my gray hairs. So I use this. Hey, here is the source code. I try to be a stand-up comedian, but I'm failed stand-up comedian. Okay, this is the series and Microsoft Reactor. I have already created one for the speaker series 2022. I mean, all the further episodes will be here, but still 2021 year end, we'll have all the series here in this one under Microsoft Reactor. All the sessions will be here. So please go and grab it and do a hands-on on that. Chalo, thank you. Anything else, Sridhar? Oh, Shashidhar, sorry. Shashidhar, anything else from you? Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Perfect. Chapkalingam is typing. Thanks, cool.
Okay, Swami, I think we are good for today. So,
Yes.
should we close the
Oh,
session?
yes. Because
Yeah,
so next session, anyways, we have the invite, and rest of the
yeah,
things we'll create a new invites for that. I think
sure.
Shashidhar is typing. Let's wait for 30 seconds. Shashidhar. Mm,
Folks, you can also unmute your mic and ask
Yeah,
question.
yeah. If you have any question, you can unmute, and you want to speak, you can speak for because this is a Q&A session. Um, anyone like Chandrasekhar or Shashidhar, Prasad, Satish, Raj, Chokalingam. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name properly or not. D-E-D-D or I don't know. I'm really sorry if I'm not pronouncing your first name. I apologize for that.
Okay, I think Swami, thank you so much
Cool.
for doing the session and thank you all for joining us today. Please feel free to do event check-in and share your feedback about today's session. It will help us to choose our topics better. Also, please visit our Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru meetup page for more upcoming sessions. Thank you all and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, folks. Thanks for joining. Have a safe